Hey everyone, TLP here. Thanks for coming back to the couch for another great conversation. And this one is a big one. When I say big, I'm talking particularly in the sense of our next guest's name, and that would be Kyle Larson. The two-time NASCAR Cup Series champion has started a pair of Indianapolis 500s. He has won just about everything you can on dirt, where he would call that kind of racing his proverbial home. And Kyle gave a lot of time earlier this spring, back in April, when he sat down on the couch in his own race shop, where his children Owen and Audrey's race cars are prepared, by another couch guest who has sat down and told his story. That's Clinton Boyles. You should go back and check out Clinton's episode. It is a favorite of many. But Kyle sat down on the couch in front of his children's race cars to talk about the places he stayed and the people who put him up when he was making his way through the early parts of his racing career. Major thanks to Kyle for his time. He is, as you can imagine, incredibly busy. And we sat down to talk, like I said, earlier in April. I want to make a quick point to emphasize we recorded this conversation in April. And why that's important is because several times towards the back third or so of his time on the couch, Kyle tells a story or two about his good friend Kyle Busch. Of course, by now, at the time of this conversation coming out in July, everyone knows that Kyle Busch has been gone for just over a month now. The icon of North American stock car racing passed away back in May during the week leading up to the Indianapolis 500. So just a little bit of context to keep in your mind when you hear Kyle Larson talk about his friend Kyle Busch. He is speaking in the present tense, as again, we recorded this conversation in April. Huge thanks to Hasty Baked Charcoal Grills for keeping guests on the couch and the flavor and the smoke rolling out of their American-made grills. Check out Hasty Baked Charcoal Grills to learn about why you need one in your backyard. This one's a lot of fun. I hope you enjoy it. I know I had a lot of fun getting to sit down and talk to Kyle in a very relaxed environment. So now here to tell us about the couches that made him Kyle Larson.
You know, those are the cool things that all happen when I'm staying on somebody's couch.
An awesome place you got here. I love the fire suits on the wall. Does one stick out or mean something to you a little bit more than the others?
No, I mean, they all mean something. I kind of broke them up. The three, starting at this end, the three there are the 4 Crown at Eldora, 3 Knoxville Nationals, 3 Chili Bowls, the PDC at Fairbury in the Dirt Late model is my first kind of only big win in a Dirt Late model.
Yeah.
One of my first suits, probably my first or second suit there, and then we did a throwback in 2021 at Hendrick to kind of match my old race car, so we tried to get the suit as close as it could be.
I didn't even realize. That's so cool.
Yeah, and then Coke 600, win 269 for Hendrick, and then, I don't know, I'd have to look at all my Hendrick suits kind of look the same, but Indy 500, Brickyard 400, I'm guessing, is next to it. And then Caitlin actually won the Better Half Dash.
Yeah.
So that's her suit. Cars was on our race car for one of our Michigan wins. And then that blue Esslinger suit was a New Zealand midget suit. We won like every race in it that trip. And then the last one there was when I guess my last trip to New Zealand, I think, when I flipped really hard and hurt myself and then won the next race back. So that suit was special for that reason.
Is it true that Mike Larson is not interested in going back to Australia for any kind of racing with you because he sat in the hotel room one day and couldn't find anything entertaining on TV, so he said he's not going back?
I mean, I definitely believe that. As much, TV and just news that he likes to consume. So, yeah, I can believe that. But I would say he would really enjoy Perth.
Yeah.
Like when he went, we were in what I thought was going to be Sydney, but it was outside of Sydney, like 45 minutes at Parramatta, and it was not that nice, I didn't think. So I don't think any of us enjoyed it that much. But Perth, I love Perth, so he would probably like that. It's just a long ways to go. And if you know my dad, he does not leave California time ever. Like when he comes here, watch doesn't change, all that stays up. He stays up late in California, so he's probably up till 3, 4 in the morning here. wakes up at noon. So he's weird, but so yeah, he would struggle going all the way to Perth.
Yeah, I just heard a story, and I don't even remember who it was from. It might have been Brian Walker. I can't remember, but somebody was like, yeah, Mike came to Australia one time, probably multiple times with you. I don't know. But,
just that one time, yeah.
Okay. So then it was that one time, and he was like, there was nothing good on TV. I'm not coming back here.
Yeah, cricket.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
He's like, I don't know if he's a baseball fan, but he's like, listen, baseball's already not fast enough for me. This stuff is, I can't even understand what's going on.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was just that, but I thought that's a pretty funny story. It'd be a wild decision. That'd be a wild way to base your decision on if I'm going to go back to this country to watch my kid race or not.
Yeah.
I like that. Speaking of staying up till 3 or 4 in the morning, segue, that's what we call it in the business. You used to stay up till 3 or 4 in the morning, iRacing, and I don't know if you were an R-Factor guy, sim racing in Pete Willoughby's basement. Well, not his basement. You stayed in the other house.
The 3-story house all by myself.
Yeah, he's like, it was probably a 40,000 square foot that he had to himself. And
3,500.
oh, I thought he said 35,000.
No. It was in a neighborhood. So I would say it was probably 4,000-ish
Okay.
square foot.
He
Yeah.
definitely said that. I misheard him.
Okay.
Because I was like, that's a huge house.
Yeah, I would say 4,000 to 5,000 square foot.
Okay, because I don't know square feet.
It was a lot for me.
Well, by yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to set the scene here. I want to make sure I'm recording because I'm paranoid. Yeah, we are. All right, we're good. I've done this before. I want to set the scene here for people who may not know, because I think obviously you're going to get a lot of people to watch this because just of your name and your brand. Pete Willoughby, business partners with Keith Kunz in Keith Kunz Motorsports, and he lives down there in Columbus, Indiana. Back around 2000, I mean, he still does, but around 2011, you come on to drive for KKM, and you move out from California, and you don't rent an apartment. You don't buy a house at the age of 19, because how could you?
Yeah.
You move into Pete's second house. How does that all come together?
Yeah, so let's see. I mean, backing up to before I even, moved there, so I had started racing sprint cars in 08, I'm guessing, 07, and did, Civil War at the time, which is pretty much now SCCT, did NARC, raced for Dave Vertullo for 3 years, then won with the Katings, and then that was like 2010, so at the tail end of that, I had a good year, won the NARC championship, and so I'm guessing my name was getting recognized and people were paying more attention, and then Keith and Pete, they paid attention to me at the Chili Bowl, and on practice night, I guess I looked good. I was racing for Glenn Crosno and Brian Sunby, and was really fast, and I didn't know this, at the time that they were paying attention to me, but, later on they obviously told me, but, so Pete went to Keith and was like, this is our guy, we got to get him this year. Well, I go and I crash in my heat race, like leading by a half a lap, junket destroyed, done for the week on Tuesday or Wednesday maybe at the time back then, but it was like the first night of the week. And, anyways, so I was, Pete had come over and was like, we'll try and get you in our backup car, one of our backup cars here. Well, the rule back then was you couldn't, change cars after you entered. But anyways, I was like, wow, they know who I am.
Yeah.
And so then they called not long after to ask if I would want to run their midgets that year. And I can't remember exactly what I was working on at the time, but I wanted to go like wing sprint car racing more so. And then, so I kind of pushed them off for a little bit, and then ultimately, signed with Keith and Pete, and I split a lot of time between California there, but I pretty much moved to Indiana. I had never lived anywhere else besides my parents, and then here I am in Columbus, Indiana, in a 3-story, probably 5,000 square foot house all by myself.
Yeah.
Don't know anybody in Indiana at the time. Don't have, any friends. So, I was down there in Columbus and a little bit lost, but it was cool, I mean, it was like welcome to real life kind of moment, which was big after, just living with my parents and traveling to, Placerville every Saturday night pretty much. So, it was cool, but I didn't have a car, so I would have to like, and for whatever Pete must only had one car too, so like I would I'd have to be like, hey Pete, can I go get some lunch? And he'd drive it, we'd get, together, he'd pick me up, I'd take him back to the shop, then I, could take his car. So, I felt lonely actually down there for a little while, but, No, it was still cool. It was just a big house for a little kid and thunderstorms and tornadoes and all that I wasn't used to. So yeah, it was. I still remember, trying to sleep at night and just seeing, the lightning going off.
Damn. So you say so much right there that's so interesting because I spoke to Pete about you staying with him, and I've already done one of these with Christopher Bell. It came out, and Christopher stayed with Pete and Jennifer in their house. You stayed in a second property that I think he had lived in and then moved out of. They got a new house.
Yeah, I think when Bell went there, they might have been like at the lake house.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which would be way better.
Well, Pete has funny stories. He's like, yeah, Christopher got out there on the water with us the first day, and Pete goes, I'll be damned, man. He popped up on those skis or wakeboard or whatever it was, and he just was awesome on it. And I told that to Christopher, and in Christopher's couch conversation, he's like, why do people think I'm not athletic?
I know.
He goes, even my wife, Morgan's sitting right there. He goes, even she thinks I'm not athletic.
Yeah.
And that was funny. But so I spoke to Pete, and you just said some stuff that's super interesting based on what Pete told me, which is everything you said, it lines up with the fact that you came down there. How old are you at this time? Like 19?
Yeah, probably. I mean, it was probably turning 19 at some point, that summer.
So
July.
So young, but like, not like, climbing out of the sandbox young. And it's so interesting to hear you describe it the way you did, where you're like, yeah, I was kind of lonely. I didn't have any friends. It was my first time away from home. Pete described it as you showed up. You weren't really, you weren't dying to stay with anybody. You were okay on your own. He said Kyle came out and was just right off the bat very independent. Do you not remember it that way?
Well, I mean, I don't know about. I'm sure, yes, in a way, independent, but I think I'm an introvert, so like I don't really I'm not the type that's gonna reach out to people. Hey, man,
Right.
Kyle Larson, I just moved here.
Yeah.
I want to hang out. So I was, just kind of. It took like a few months, I feel like, until like Brian Clausen, started kind of inviting me around, so I would, be able to get Pete's car and drive to Fishers or Noblesville, wherever, and go hang out with those guys and finally, make some friends. I mean, you talk to people at the racetrack, but I wasn't like hanging out with people. So I remember the weeks were really long.
Mhm.
Luckily back then I was racing a lot. I probably ran, I'm guessing, close to 100 races. So
Yeah.
I would do, when I wasn't running the USAC midget stuff, I was still doing some non-wing sprint car stuff with like Jeff Walker a little bit, and then we had the Silver Crown car and just racing. But still, the weeks felt really long, and I was stuck down there. I remember. I mean, went through my photos, not recently, but I do remember I was so bored I stacked 3 golf balls on top of each other and so they stood there on their own and took a picture. That's how bored I was,
Man.
that time. But it's still memories I'll never forget, and super grateful to, as Pete and Keith have always kind of gotten, propelled young guys along. I'm so grateful for that, and definitely grateful for that year and summer that I spent in Pete's house, which he sold, I think, I don't know, sometime late summer. So I ended up moving in with Pete and Jennifer in their house there towards the end of it.
He said that they spoke to a neighbor. How far, that's something else I wanted to ask. How far is the house you're living in when you first come down there in 11 from where Pete and Jennifer lived? Do you know how, like, what the distance was between the two properties?
It wouldn't have been very far. I don't
Right.
think I think it was, I mean, I haven't been back there in 15 years or whatever. But from what I remember, I think the house that I was in, I could be wrong, but it's, only a few miles probably from the shop.
Well,
and
Columbus isn't exactly a metropolis.
Yeah, and then I think like Pete and Jennifer's house, I think it was probably only another few miles away. So it was, 10, 15 minutes, I guess, between. I could be wrong. It could have been more, but
No, I'm sure you're right. I meant to ask him, but it slipped my mind while we were talking. So the reason I asked is because he told me a story where he said, yeah, not long after Kyle's there, we see a neighbor, of Kyle's in that neighborhood that our house was in. We weren't staying in. Kyle's in it. He goes, we see a neighbor one day, and they tell us that, boy, something must be going on in that house all hours of the night, because almost, if not every single light in the house would be on at 3 or 4 in the morning. And they said that they tracked it down to you sitting up playing. I don't know if it was, I know Bell was a big R Factor guy. Were you R Factor?
back then it would have been, probably R Factor and maybe the beginning of iRacing.
Okay, yeah, because I don't know iRacing's timeline and all
Yeah.
that, but you were up playing racing games, simulations, and Pete goes, he'd have every light in the house on, and he kind of thinks, and I buy into this theory, correct us if we're wrong, he buys into the theory that you were a young kid in a house all by yourself in an area you didn't know anybody, and it's 3:30 in the morning, and you wanted to make sure that you had as much, like, coverage around you, and you could see. Were you like freaked out to be in that house by yourself at the
A
middle
little
of the night?
bit, yeah. I mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, because I'm, I'm little too. So, if somebody was to happen to ever break in,
You wanted to see them.
well, I don't know what I was. I don't know. Probably scared of the dark a little bit back
No
then.
doubt. No, I mean, dude, I mean, I wouldn't want to be in a
Yeah.
big house that I don't know with dark rooms.
I'm sure
and-
my mom probably had. I don't remember, but I'm sure she probably paranoid me with something too. Probably, like you're there all by yourself.
which is wild to consider. You left California for Indiana, and Janet's like, Kyle, it's dangerous out
Well,
there.
yeah, this is my parents still come, here and lock the car and take their keys and like you could just show up and take any one of my cars.
Yeah.
Like so yes, they're very California. Very paranoid.
Yeah, very. I mean, if you grow up there, you got to kind of keep that thing on you, as the kids
Yeah.
say. So yeah, he joked. He said that you were pretty independent. You did your own thing. In comparison to like a Christopher Bell, who was happy to stay in the basement, be around Pete and Jennifer. He liked to go to the shop more often. Christopher did talk about in his conversation with me that like you kind of changed the game in the term of you showed up to the shop, or you showed up to Columbus with Keith Coons Motorsports, and you weren't going to the shop during the day. You weren't working on race cars. You weren't, sitting there tinkering, cleaning stuff, figuring out what everything did. You showed up and you focused on driving, and that's all you focused on, and you were winning. So Bell says that you kind of maybe turned the program a little bit and made it whereas like, oh, maybe the driver should just focus on driving and racing the car. Was that ever like a conscious thought in your mind, or where did the logic come from to just not really concern yourself with the mechanical side?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really sure if there was like ever that conversation of like, hey, like I don't know how to work on cars
Mhm.
and all that. So yeah, I'm not sure. I just probably just was me and
Yep.
just would hang out a little bit. Again, like I'm introvert, so I was probably not that wanting to go to the shop and just chit chat either.
Oh, true.
Because I'm still a little bit that way. Like I'll go to Hendrick Motorsports and be like, I'm just gonna go to the team room because I'm just not the chit chatting type. Not that I don't want to. I just really don't know how.
Yeah.
I don't have that gene like guys like you have. But
I do have jeans. I'm wearing them right now.
but I don't know. I don't really remember if I don't think they ever even expected me to do anything. I probably woke up too late anyways to be
Well,
able to go help them with anything.
Pete certainly didn't expect it because he said Mike warned us, but when Kyle came, he was like,
Maybe that. I mean, I'm sure that's probably it too.
Yeah.
I'm sure either me. Maybe I said something too, but I'm sure my dad probably warned him like, "Hey, this kid knows nothing."
well, and Pete, I hope it wasn't that blunt, but I think Pete even said he's like, I'm sure today Kyle's like not standing there with Paul going like, well, what bar are you putting in it or stuff
No.
like that. You really don't concern yourself with it.
No, I texted them yesterday. They tested at Knoxville last night. I was like, "Oh, what are we doing? Whatever. You got any tricks on Brad's car, whatever?" And like, "Oh no." I was like, "Oh, so you're just carrying around 5/8 wrench?" They're like, "Actually, it's a 9/16." So
Were you serious?
yeah, I was serious. So, yeah, no. So I know nothing. I literally couldn't tell you what stagger, what wheel spacing, sprint cars, midget, nothing. Don't know anything about that. Don't know what gears we run.
I don't think it's affected you too adversely.
No.
You've seemed to figure out a way to do it. That could be its own whole show. I mean, I would love to deep dive into that and just learn more about like how you approach your job of racing and setting up and preparing for a race weekend. But unfortunately, that's not what I'm here to do, although that would be so interesting because like even in my role today with High Limit, I try to immerse myself as much in the technical and the mechanical side of the car so I can know what I'm talking about. And they are wildly intricate machines. I don't think anybody should get knocked for not knowing every tiny difference, each different rate, torsion bar, and spring makes to the car. Because for as simple of a car as a sprint car is, those guys mechanically have made them just, I think, wildly complex. There's so much to learn about them. So from one guy who's learning about them, I'm not
You
knocking
know more than
out.
I do.
Well,
Guarantee that.
I mean, I don't know about that, but I fake it for the most part. Pete said you were very reminiscent of like Jason Leffler, where you just, you showed up, you did your own thing. And so when do you think you first get to Columbus and move into Pete's house? I know it's 2011, but is it like right after Chili Bowl? Is it before the
No, it
USAC
would've
season
been-
starts?
I'm guessing it would have been like just guessing based off schedules and stuff, like late March,
Yeah.
early April. I'm
Probably before the
assuming.
Midwest season
Yeah,
starts.
I think we did my first race with them was at Tucson, for whatever one of those Western World or something classic thing out there, and that would have had to been like, I'm guessing late February, early March time, and then yeah. I mean, Indiana racing I feel like doesn't really get going
April.
until April. So I would assume it'd be shortly before that. You
Okay.
know?
Do you remember the first time when you got there? Like, this is probably like day 1 or 2 of being in Columbus. The house was empty. So do you remember Pete taking you to the grocery store to stock the house or the kitchen, I guess?
Oh man, I kind of very 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 vaguely now remember about being at a grocery store with Pete, but I don't know anything like funny or special about it.
I mean, nothing really funny or special necessarily happened. Pete just said he was shocked that the only thing you really wanted to put in the shopping cart was.
I'm guessing like Reese's peanut butter
Nope.
cups or something.
What are you talking, bro?
Lettuce.
Lettuce.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
He said Kyle's like just grabbing like heads of lettuce
Yeah.
and putting them in the cart, and Pete had no idea. I think he thought
Why
you
does
were like.
everybody think salads are weird, man?
I don't think anybody thinks salads are weird, but you yourself have told me you'll just eat lettuce.
No, I don't.
Kyle, you have not told me that.
Well, I mean, when I was young, for sure, instead of grabbing a bowl of ice cream, I might make a salad, but not like just eating plain head of lettuce. It's
Okay,
gotta have
I thought you
stuff
would.
in
I
it.
thought you would pick up a head of lettuce like an
No.
apple and just be like,
No, definitely not.
really?
No. There probably wasn't much. I remember going to like Fazoli's a lot, right? Isn't that the drive-through Italian?
Yeah, dude, that stuff
Yeah,
is good.
I think I ate that. Growing up in California, like I would eat Taco Bell and In-N-Out every day, and then I moved to Indiana. I was like, what do I eat here? They got crap, for fast food. I have like Culver's and
What?
Fazoli's, so that
Those
was my
are two
diet.
staples of good eating.
Yeah, so bad.
Dude,
Yeah.
Fazoli's.
It was good. I mean, it was all right,
The slander is. You sound like Mike Larson in Australia right now.
Yeah.
There's nothing to eat.
No.
There's nothing on TV. Yeah, your mom's even joked with me about the lettuce thing, and I'm just like, wow, man, I can't believe somebody likes. As long as it's salads, that's different.
Salads.
Okay.
Well, I mean, salads, and then like if I go to Taco Bell, it's like, hey, can I get 4 crunchy tacos with extra lettuce? In-N-Out. Well, back now I eat a lettuce wrapped burger from In-N-Out, which is so good. But yeah, back then I would go to In-N-Out and get a number 2 with no onion, no tomato, with extra lettuce, extra lettuce.
Is a number 2 a double?
Single.
Okay.
I'm a double guy now. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's
Number
up.
1 protein style, 2x1.
Do you do the protein style with the lettuce wrap for health and fitness goals?
Nah, I think it tastes better. You
Really?
taste the sauce better,
Yeah.
the meat better. Like they like the bun.
Soaks
I
it
like
up.
their buns, but the buns kind of
Soak it
dry
up.
it out a little bit.
Okay, yeah, it absorbs. I never thought about it like that. I just feel like to me it looks like it'd get very messy very quickly with like the lettuce being your handle, but clearly it
But they
doesn't.
wrap it good, they put it in the little baggie good.
I might have to try that in 10 years or something if I go back to In-N-Out and actually I'm brave enough to get my burger wrapped in lettuce.
You just get plain? What do you get?
I mean, I just do like a couple doubles and, just the run-of-the-mill, whatever
Okay.
they come with.
Yeah, you should try the lettuce wrap next time.
Okay, I will.
At least one of them. If you're getting a couple, do one.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if I get a bag of a couple half dozen of them, you know what I mean? I'll throw one in there. I'll really freak the girl out. I'll be like, can you make one of those 6 protein style? And she'll be like,
Are you sure?
she's like, are you going through something? What do you remember about growing up there? And you're on your own. And I asked Pete, I go, did anything happen with Kyle that, you think maybe he carried from spending time down there in Columbus? Because that's what this thing's all about is like,
Yeah.
what do you learn from the people that put you up and you stay with in your journeys through racing, through announcing, through just being in the sport of racing? We all spend this crazy amount of time with these people who aren't our family, and we learn stuff from them. You aren't shoulder to shoulder with Pete and his wife Jennifer every day, but I feel like through not being shoulder to shoulder with them, and this was something Pete said, you kind of got to transition into really kind of who you were as a guy around 18, 19, 20. Was that time very beneficial for you to find out more about yourself as a single dude living on your own?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think not only on like the, hey, you're moving it, away from your parents all by yourself in this big house, but also, that was my first time like racing a lot of different types of cars, midgets, sprint cars, Silver Crown cars, wing, non-wing, pavement, dirt, like, so it was just like 2011 was just like a really, massive transition of a year for me personally, growing up, finally, because I mean, my mom, like, I'm a mama's boy, she would baby me and still probably would if I was around. So yeah, like getting out on your own and, having your own credit card and, having to figure out, what you're gonna do for the day or go eat or whatever,
Yeah.
was good. And then, yeah, like the racing, a lot of things really kind of paved the way for who I still am today as far as on the driving side of it, where I'd still love to race a lot of different types of cars. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, as far as living there, it was just I wasn't there, I was still racing a lot in California. So I wasn't there from, April to the
Right.
end of the year. Like I would be there for a week here, a week there, maybe a couple weeks. Then we'd leave to go, on a racing trip somewhere. So I don't remember being in that house per se for that long. Maybe a couple months, few months, and then yeah, I mean you're racing a lot, and then yeah, they sold that house, and then I moved in with them for just the tail end of that year. I feel like it was, I don't know, September, October
Hmm.
time. And there, I feel like it was like a senior community. But no,
Where
honestly,
where
yeah,
they were living.
where their house was. And that was before their lake house.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess just like, and I just asked this because it's the theme of the show, and I'm not hunting for any one specific thing. And if plenty of people sit down and just go, yeah, nothing like monumental, nothing earth shattering happened even in those last 2 months, maybe, if that's when you're with Pete and Jennifer in their place. Do you pick anything up from them? Do you carry anything, or do you learn anything in those weeks, those months, that maybe you find yourself today going, oh man, I learned that from Pete. I saw them do this as a whatever it is, a couple, a husband. I don't even know if they have kids. Just did you pick up anything from your time with them that maybe you still employ today in your day-to-day life?
Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm sure there is. I don't, it's hard to really like think back exactly for like life moments and lessons, but yeah, they just treated me really well, especially when I moved in with them. They were like my parents. They would cook dinner. I remember eating dinner together, at the table and just hanging out, sitting on the couch, watching racing or shows or whatever. So yeah, I mean, it was when you're far from your parents who you're used to seeing every day, it was just nice to have a set of parents, for me. And I think they've been great with all of their kids before me, after me. They've had multiple kids, especially that lake house.
Yeah.
Multiple kids living in there at the same time. So they've always been welcoming and to young kids that they're trying to help propel to the next level. And I was just one of those. So super super grateful for that time of just getting out of California, growing up quickly, and then yeah, welcome to the real world.
Yeah, yeah. I talked to Pete, and his name has come up a lot in research for this deal, whether it's mechanics like Connor Ridge and Jared Martin, or Christopher, and I don't know if Rico ever necessarily stayed much in Pete's house. He spent time in Columbus at Tony's house, but Willoughby just shows up all the time. Tanner Thorson,
Yeah.
all these big names, Jason Leffler, like I mentioned, all these names that he personally put up. And that's the other part of this deal, is like, this is kind of more about like people who helped you. So you guys weren't getting charged rent.
No.
You weren't having to pay them and to stay there.
No.
They were doing this out of just the kindness of their heart and saying, as Pete said, he's not making enough money driving midgets to pay for an apartment, to rent a house. So we put them up so that they could come and do their job.
Yeah. But that's like my first paychecks back then. So I probably actually did think I was making good money. But yeah, no, I mean, it was, yeah, I mean, I guess that's not something that as an 18-year-old, that's my first, like I wasn't used to paying for my own bills
Right.
before then. So it was kind of just like normal probably back then. But yeah, I mean, thinking back on it now, yeah, I mean, you're definitely, that helps a lot. That goes a long way.
Yeah.
For yeah, when somebody lets you stay on their couch per se, and so yeah, I'm grateful for that whole year. And yeah, I look back at the Bells, the Thorsons, Macedos, who got to stay at the lake house. I'm like, dude, you guys are so freaking lucky. Like I remember I would we raced. I think Columbus is close to Kentucky Speedway or something. So I was racing NASCAR, and I was like, I'm gonna go drive to Pete Willoughby's lake house, and stayed there for a day and a night. And yeah, we went on the lake, went on the boat, went wake surfing or wakeboarding, all that. I'm like, dude, you guys are so lucky.
Man.
I was stuck in a house. Not that to sound like ungrateful, but I was stuck in this house all by myself, no friends. Like, because back then it was just, me and the Armstrong cousins. I think they were
Okay.
cousins. So, I mean, they had their own, house and place that they lived down the road or whatever, Newcastle maybe. Um, and then Keith Coons Motorsports like exploded where they had like 8 cars, so, and then they're housing all these kids. I'm like, man, that would have been so fun.
we gotta get you back to the lake house. Apparently, it sounds
Yeah.
like we'll record an update with this in like a year or two when you've got to spend the night or the weekend at the lake house, and you can tell us about how much.
Is he still at the lake house? I don't even know.
I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah, Bell did gush about it. He's like, yeah. He goes. Actually, it was probably Pete who told me that one time Christopher's sitting out there looking out they had these big, probably floor-to-ceiling windows or whatever,
Yeah.
a great view of the lake. And Pete goes, it's like a week or something that Bell's been there. And Christopher looks at him and goes, Pete, I could really get used to living like this.
Yeah, now you see where Christopher lives right now. He's got that same view, just different lake.
Like Norman?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's on the water.
That would make sense.
Yeah. No, I remember going there and just being like, God, this is so awesome. Like, I just missed it by a couple years.
Yeah, dude.
Like down in the basement, they had all their sim setups and just it looked like just a man cave. Just couches and just shit everywhere. Messy, like nobody's clean, but they're having a great time.
Yeah.
And not, I think that would have made racing even more fun than it already was.
Oh yeah. And yeah, Pete said he remembers having to go to whoever it was, Comcast or whoever their internet provider was back then. He goes, I remember having to get a second line of internet put in for Bell, so his sim racing wouldn't intrude on our just normal day-to-day internet, and our internet wouldn't slow him down.
Yeah.
So Bell was like probably the guy that brought the sim racing world.
Yeah. Bell was spoiled by Pete. Pete. If I had to pick a favorite of Pete's, it was definitely Bell. So.
Well, I hope you're busy, and I don't imagine you're just sitting around watching weird interview shows on inflatable couches very often, but Bell and Pete's relationship is one of the center points of his conversation with me, and it's really cool. And the stuff that they went through together and he helped Christopher with, and the stuff that Christopher actually helped Pete with, it's really cool to hear. So if you're really bored in the next couple of weeks, I'd say check it out. That's a plug for an episode in an episode. Nobody's doing that right now. I want to transition from one style of living in a big house by yourself with these really, really generous and nice people. Not to say that this next couple isn't generous and nice. They're maybe even more generous with what they let you get away with. But you go from one kind of living with Pete Willoughby to a very different kind of living with Davy Jones.
Oh my gosh.
And it's kind of known that a lot of the KKM drivers were encouraged to stay down in Columbus, where Keith and Pete
away from the trouble.
Could keep it. That's exactly what Pete said. He goes, we just like to make sure they weren't.
I think that's why I didn't have a car of my own.
Because they didn't want to give you that freedom to get away.
Yes.
So how would you get up to Indianapolis?
I had to ask Pete if I could borrow his car.
So you're just taking his whip up to Brownsburg?
Yeah, I would take. Yeah, we would. I mean, I didn't make many trips. I remember going to Brian's one night and stayed the night there. But we played video games all night. Which, I mean, his house was full of the mechanics, like Sunshine was there, and I didn't know Tyler Courtney even raced back then, but yeah, he was there, and I don't know, they had a lot of mechanics, I felt like, but yeah, that was a trip, and then maybe going to, is it Fast Times?
Yeah,
is it the go-kart
track?
Yeah, that's the only 2 trips I can really remember making up north of Columbus.
But then don't you end up like kind of moving in to Davey and Michelle's?
Yeah, the next year, 2012. So then 2012, I was, still racing for Keith.
That's your ARCA year, right?
Yeah, well, everything. I ran 120-something races that year. So, yeah, but the majority of my racing was with, I would say, Rico Abreu and Dave Abreu. So that's another great story, how that kind of all came about. I was not racing for the Abreus, and this was probably, I don't know, March, April time. I was in St. Helena and went to dinner with Rico, which I was in St. Helena, I mean, every weekend back then. But at dinner at Mustard's, and we're sitting at the bar with David, and got the word that maybe Placerville or something we were going to race the next night was canceling. So we're like, oh, man, Bloomington races tomorrow. Dave, what do you think? Like, they had this Nauman car that Davy Jones was taking care of. Keith Bloom Jr. had ran it, I think, the year before or something.
Exactly.
So Dave was like, yeah, do it. We call Davy, and book a flight. We don't, traveling from the West Coast to Indiana, like the earliest I could get there was like 3:30 p.m.
Right.
So, yeah, me and Rico, we booked this flight, probably stayed up all night, and then flew to Indy, landed straight to, their shop there, mounted the seat, rolled into Bloomington. I think as like hot laps or something was out there, engine heat or something. And had a great night. Finished second. I think Casey Schumann beat me. Chase Briscoe was third. And then, yeah, that was awesome. And then it just turned into all this racing for Rico and David that year. Built wing sprint cars, ran a bunch of non-wing sprint car stuff. Had a great year. But yeah, that led into me then living with Davey and Michelle in Avon with Rico. Rico was kind of there for all of it. I'm guessing he would have been racing some by then with the Kadings that year. But, yeah, he was with – I feel like every memory I have, Rico is right there with me throughout that time. But, yeah, staying at Davey Michelle's with, Dalton and Dylan, who are – Dalton's like a year or two older. I think Dylan's a year or two younger than me. So it was just a lot of fun. And, yeah, we did a lot of stupid shit.
Okay, so obviously we're going to talk mostly about Davey Michelle, but you told a story that I've heard now from about 3 different people about that trip out to Bloomington. I feel like maybe you're leaving out a detail or two. Is it true that to make that trip happen, I believe somebody had to go with you guys, and David Abreu, Rico's dad, said, I can't go. I can't just get up and leave. What's that?
Did Uncle Jimmy come with us?
No, your parents.
Oh, did they?
And Mike tells the story that, like, that
My dad
night,
has a way better memory than me.
He goes, Jan and I are sitting on the couch. We're watching TV. We're about ready to go to bed because they both had work the next day.
It was late.
It's like a Friday night Bloomington weekly show.
Yeah.
So we're talking.
I mean, it's probably midnight Eastern at least by the time I think we woke Davey up. We called Davey and woke him up. Yeah, it had to be after midnight.
So
Eastern.
you guys call your parents at, what would that be, 11 to 9
probably
p.m.?
9-ish.
9 p.m. on the West Coast. You're on the West Coast. Rico calls your dad, I think from your phone for some reason, your dad said. And Mike tells I wish I recorded the call out with your dad because he does this impression of Rico and he's like, I answer the phone and I go, hello? And he goes, I just hear Rico on the other end going, Mikey, hey, we got a plan, but we need your help. So your dad has to call work and tell them, hey, Kyle's got this great opportunity. I got to bail. And then you guys are on a flight at like
6 a.m. probably.
Stupid early in the morning to Indianapolis. And then is that also not the trip that you and Rico are hitchhiking on the side of the road?
Oh, that picture?
Yeah.
That might be that picture that, Chuck Gurney Jr., he still always posts. Yeah, I think I got like a box of my stuff. Maybe,
I haven't seen it,
but a cardboard box of my stuff. And, yeah, we look so young. That picture is so cool. But, yeah, we're on the corner, and, yeah, we get picked up. I don't know, there's like a roundabout there.
Yeah.
That might be that trip.
I think it was.
Okay.
I think it was.
It probably.
Because I talked to Davey.
But yeah, Chuck Gurney Jr., he was like mechanic for us back then. Yeah, it was a lot. It was cool.
Big part of KKM today.
Yeah.
And so Davey Jones, son of Bubby Jones, just a massive name in USAC, CRA, non-wing sprint car racing out in California where you're from. I don't know the timelines, so forgive me if this is a really stupid question, but like when you're growing up, and I know you were a massive NASCAR fan, is Bubby Jones like somebody you're aware of? Are you watching him? Was he still really active in the sport at that time when you're growing up in the late 90s? I don't know when his driving career kind of wrapped up.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously I knew Bubby Jones's name, but it was before my time. And,
okay, I
kind
of figured.
And yeah, I mean, I didn't follow non-wing sprint car racing. It was all wing sprint car racing for me. Growing up in Northern California, had I been in like Central or Southern California, I definitely would have known of Bubby Jones more than I already did.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything that I wanted to do was wing sprint car racing. Even before, signing with Keith and Pete, like my path was at that time to end up on the War of Outlaw Tour someday.
Yeah.
And that was just going to be a step there. So.
And now you get to race high limit.
Yeah, and now high limit's the best. So.
Obviously.
Yeah, obviously. But yeah, no, it was, yes, I knew Bubby Jones. I knew Davey Jones. Like, it wasn't like, oh, who's this mechanic you got?
Right.
Like, I knew them and knew the success that they had all had, but it wasn't like, I was more of like focused and a fan of the wing sprint car stuff.
So Davey Jones, and I hope to God he knows that I'm just kind of describing him. I'm not trying to be funny or Davey is a grizzled veteran of the sport, right?
It's a great way to put it.
And I don't know what he was like in 2012 when you're racing with him, but he's running David Abreu's non-wing sprint car, working that non-wing sprint car non-wing sprint car out in the Midwest for the Abrus. You and Rico come out, and then you all of a sudden, like, it goes so well. He's calling David, and he's like, we just ran second with Kyle in the car. So David's the car owner. He's excited. Davey's excited. And then you said it, you guys start this crazy run of races in that car. It turns into, you convert it to a wing car. You're doing all this stuff with it. But life at home in Avon with Davey and Michelle sounds like halftime party and halftime, like,
it was way more lopsided to partying than it was
anything else.
anything else serious about racing.
Do you remember any altercations with Rico Abreu regarding fishing spots at the pond behind their house?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. We would fish every neighborhood in Indiana has a small pond in the back in their community. But yeah, we would fish, every day out there, and then some alcohol might get flowing, and then Rico still to this, well, maybe not to this day anymore after his Australia experience a couple years ago with a firework, but loves fireworks, bombs, all that. So yeah, I don't like fireworks. I'm scared of fireworks. So this is all him, but I'm there, and we would light bombs off.
Well, you're getting ahead of me because I know the fireworks are.
Is this what you're talking about?
Well, no. Well, Davey told me stories about, like, you would go in to get something, or no, Rico would go in to get something, and you would have taken his spot on the bank fishing, and Davey said he'd have to come out and pull you two apart.
No.
He said Rico would try to wrestle you to the ground.
No, I don't remember any of that.
Dude, Rico and Jones both say that it would get physical between you two.
Rico?
Yes.
Even said that?
Because
fishing?
Rico's done this, and he
Really?
had a big smile talking about it being like, I think money would get put on the line over fishing.
See, my memory is so bad. I wish it was better, but I don't remember any
Throwdowns?
No, not fishing at all. I just felt like we were outside just having a good time
Davey's
fishing.
like, sometimes Rico would get snagged or lose a lure, and he'd come back to the house and get something, and then Rico would have been in a good spot, like on the bank, and you would go take it.
I don't ever remember there being a bad spot. Like every cast, you were catching something in that pond.
God, can you take me to that lake sometime?
Yeah, well, it wasn't a lake. The pond was about as big as this shop floor. So
okay, still that'd be because my odds are.
They were
that.
small, little small fish too.
Yeah, little bluegill, sunfish.
Yeah.
So yes, now let's get into the real meat of this time with Davey and Michelle. Fireworks become a pretty prominent part of your time in Avon, Indiana.
Rico's probably told this story already, right?
Yeah, he talked about it at length.
I would love to hear how it varies.
Well, you should
his memory be.
You should tune into the Couches That Made Us.
I will. Especially that one.
His conversation was awesome. He was just such a good guest. He spoke he just smiled the whole time he talked about everything, right? And I should tell you what I told Rico about Davey. When I talked to Davey about both you guys, Davey could almost never tell a story about you guys without starting it with, Tony, they were just the best guys to have around. And he would say things like, yeah, they're great race car drivers, but they're way better people.
Really?
And he just, man, it was like listening to a dad.
Well, as we lead into this story, we almost got him shot, so.
Yes.
It's wild. I know I've heard him say all that, and it's wild that he, because there's so many memories of me and Rico and then Davey, he would just be so mad and
Well, some we can't tell. Some we definitely can't tell about stories with you and Rico, Davey. But tell me about what you're willing to. The incident that ended up having police show up at Davey and Michelle's house.
Yeah, a late night, at Davey's. I don't remember if I'm guessing Dalton was with us, and maybe Dylan was off doing something. I don't feel like Dylan didn't do any of the crazy stuff with us, so he might have just been home sleeping too. But Dalton had to have been with us because Dalton's very much like Davey, wound up. But so it's late night, we lit this bomb off in his backyard and then just left. And apparently, neighbors must have seen a car zooming away, and so they called 911. And, we might be at a fine late night establishment with, a gentleman's club, something like that.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
and then our phones are ringing and whatnot. This is a couple hours later. I'm sure Davey and them are trying to get a hold of us, and apparently, so cops came. We must not have forgot we forgot to shut the sliding glass door in the back. So cops are gonna think that somebody has entered the house, and the lights are off. It's dark. They're sleeping, and apparently Davey says that the cops come into their room guns pointing, and and then Davey, being Davey, is like, flips out, screaming, screaming at him. It's like intense, and yeah. So we could have killed Davey then. That was one of the few times we could have probably killed him.
Did there also happen to be a time where you and Rico snuck in and he thought you guys?
Oh, probably.
Mike,
Yeah.
your dad tells a story where.
Yes, we definitely did that as well, where we snuck in your room and scared the shit out of him.
Your
while he was asleep.
dad goes, I don't think those boys knew that Davey sleeps with a gun next to him.
That's what Davey had said. He could have pulled a gun on us. So
Davey joked and said it was only because he saw the figure of Rico that he knew it was you two.
Yeah.
But Mike goes,
so
you guys have no idea how close you were to looking like Swiss cheese, apparently.
I know. And Davey's crazy, so he'd probably just do it for fun too.
Okay, well, that's wild to hear you talk like that and acknowledge that he was crazy, and you knew that at the time.
He had such a short fuse that it made it so much fun to just with him, because you could fire him up so fast. If he wasn't like that, I think me and Rico probably would have just left him alone, but he was just so easy to screw with. And Michelle was like an angel, and so we brought her a lot of stress too, but it was just they were such complete opposites that it was fun.
Okay, so knowing all of that in the moment, it's not like you look back on it now and go, "Wow, Davey, he could really flip out sometimes." You knew that in the moment.
That just made it more fun.
And you went for the reaction. Is that why you once told him that a race in Flora, Illinois paid $2,400 to win, and it really paid $400 to win?
I don't know if I lied about how much it paid to win.
He said you told him.
We were going to go to Kokomo. Like, everybody was going to Kokomo. That's where you guys went, or everybody went on a Sunday. But we were just trying to race, a bunch that year. And I think we were on our way to Kokomo. Very, not very far, 20 minutes, 30 minutes on the way there. It canceled, and we're like, I don't know if it was me or Chuck Gurney was like, oh, there's a race in Flora, Illinois we can go to. And so Davey wasn't against it by any means. We were all wanting to race a lot back then. But yeah, then we hauled ass.
He said you guys really hauled ass, like 110.
Scary fast with a
trailer.
Truck and trailer. And I remember there was a point where there was like some construction and it stack up, and he's just on the brakes, and I'm just in the back seat, just quiet but scared.
You're like, I had a hand in this.
Yeah, but we make it to the pit area, or to the Florida track, and we're like, look in the pits, like, man, who came? Like, who's here? And there's like only one sprint car in there, and the lady's like, oh yeah, there's one other guy here.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Well, thankfully CJ Leary showed up and Casey Schumann showed up at what I kind of remember about it, and Sean Buckley, he followed us there as well, so he kind of filmed it all. But I do remember there being a meeting of some sort, because there was only 4 of us, and I think it paid, whatever it was going to pay to win. I don't know.
Yeah,
and,
these numbers.
And they wanted to split it up equally, and I was like, hell no. Like, we're here to race, and I think I can beat you guys. Like, I want to make more money than you guys.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it ended up paying to win, but it was not much, and it was not enough to definitely go race.
He said it paid $400 to win, which sounds like criminal. That it
might
was.
Have.
But he's confident that you told him, Davey, there's a race in Florida that pays $2,400 to win.
I mean, back then you don't care what anything pays to win. But yeah, maybe I lied.
He said he got there and he was so mad at you.
Which every nomming race pays like $2,400 to win. So it's probably believable.
Whoa. Non-wings are out here catching strays from Kyle Larson.
It's the truth.
Davey said he was so mad at you when he got there and found out it paid that much, and he probably also was upset at the car count. He said that he got the car out and made it so tight that even God himself couldn't drive it.
Oh, it was always every race car Davey set up was tight, so it probably drove exactly the same.
There was another story he told me about somewhere that you guys went that he was mad at you and he set it up just tighter than absolutely anything, and then you went out there and just walked around like the top. And for the life of me, I really wish we talked before Rico's time on the couch, and I shot that back in, probably late February. Maybe mid-February, so it's been a while since I talked to Davey.
I wish I would know, or I wish he would have said which track
he
that
did.
was.
He did. I forgot, and
just remember always being so tight with Davey. Like, we would go around Kokomo, and I was deathly afraid of the top because just so tight. But we would get around the bottom good. But I remember going down the backstretch every night and, like, literally feel like I couldn't even run a lot of throttle because it was just going to flip over backwards. Like, that's how
Wow.
much grip his cars would make. And, yeah, I was not only cars, I think, it's been, 13 years since I've ran one, but I feel like today they were much easier to drive than my car was with Davey.
Has it really been 13 years since you raced a non-wing sprint car?
2013, yeah. Yeah, I won at Kokomo, but
That was the last time you raced a non-wing sprint car.
Yeah.
Why?
Because they're just dumb. They're stupid. They're fun, but they're just, if you want to get hurt, yeah, go around.
Wow. Okay. I had no idea it had been that long.
Yeah.
I know you've raced a Crown car and obviously midgets
Yeah.
with USAC since then, but
no, it's non-wing sprint car. I've tipped over and it hurts, so I'm like, this is stupid. But yeah, anyways.
does a wing really make it that much
Oh,
softer in a wing car when you flip?
It's not. It just depends on how you crash.
Yeah.
But it's not soft. But it's like I'm telling you. I've tipped over and like, oh, that hurt.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I just don't see the point.
Well-
and I joked about $2,400 to win. Like, that's what it was back then.
Yeah.
You'd go race a USAC sprint car race would be the most at $5,000 to win, and it's like, man, you're risking just hurting yourself for. It might even been $1,400 to win at like a Kokomo or something on Sunday. So, yeah, no, that's money. Part of it was a reason why I didn't run, but more just because it hurt. Yeah.
Yeah. So other than learning how to really, really, really make someone angry who's helping you out and giving you all this generosity, which, cool life skill to have, I guess, and maybe kudos to you for being able to read a situation and realize, okay, I'm about to die, but I don't think he's really going to kill me. So you learned some serious awareness, it sounds like social awareness with Davy Jones.
Nah.
I'm mostly joking. But same question I had for you about Pete and Jennifer. You're a dad. You're a husband today. You got to live in that house with Davey and Michelle while they're raising their boys. They were very close to you in age. Again, just because it's the theme of the show, do you remember seeing anything or learning anything? Or Tony Stewart said it the other day, it's not so much what the people who helped him out ever said to him. It's just how he saw them live. Like you said with Pete, they were just good to you, right?
Yeah.
So do you remember seeing anything, or maybe just today doing something and going like, oh, I saw Davey and Michelle do this. I saw Michelle do this. I liked how they did this with their kids. Whatever. Does anything like that stand out?
Yeah, I think actually, like, thinking and looking back on it now, I'm sure, probably the way that, Davey was crazy, but, he's still a great person and treated people very well. So I would say, that for sure. But then, Dalton was on the racing stuff and baseball, but Dylan was really into baseball, and just seeing how they could kind of live not fully in racing, I think is something that I appreciate now, especially.
Are you able to do that today?
Yeah, that's I think why I don't know if like they are the reason why, but like, Audrey plays ice hockey and Owen kind of dabbles in it too. I think having something separate from racing is good for racing. So yeah, I would say some of that, and then just probably Grace, how patient they were with Rico and I, and how, yes, just patient, and they should have kicked us out, multiple times.
Yeah, totally.
They should have kicked us out for sure and told us, hey, you guys are making enough money before you kill us or get, us kicked out of this house, like, you guys should move out
or burn it down.
Yes. So grace and patience, I would say, is what I've learned from them. Just 2012 still to this day is like the most fun year I've ever had racing, and a lot of it is to do with memories in that house.
Yeah.
Sitting at that pond, just, racing, traveling up and down the road with Davey and Dalton, and Chad Baselug was a part of the team that year, and just, yeah, it was really, really cool. Lots of cool moments and just memories.
Dude, that's why I did this, and I want this thing to happen, is for that stuff right there, where Levi Jones said it in his, he goes, you learn pretty quick that you spend a lot more of your life racing. You spend a lot more of your life in racing outside the pit gate than you do in it. And everybody watches on Flow and the streaming platforms and the broadcasts of NASCAR and IndyCar and all the sprint car series, and you just, all you see on those through your television, through your iPhone screen is what's going on in the pits, what's going on at the racetrack. But it's so much more than that. And that's why when you're blessed with really great people, you look forward to the times outside of the pit gate probably just as much as you do the times in it. And that's so cool to hear you go.
Yeah.
2012 was one of the biggest and best years in your career and your life. And you literally reference sitting
Nothing
out in that
about
pond.
racing, yeah.
And it had you just listed all this stuff that had very little to do with racing.
Yeah. I mean, I would say most of the reason why about that season I enjoy was not at the racetrack.
Yeah.
You know? So.
Damn. Like, that's crazy to hear.
Yeah.
Because your whole life is nothing but racing these days.
Yeah.
With the exception of your family and the activities they do. But for you to be able to sit down and be like, yeah, man, one of the best years of my life and in the sport, so much of what made it great had nothing to do with driving a race car. Ultimately, it did, because you're not in Davy Jones's house. You're not hanging out with Rico Weber if you're not driving race cars. But it's all like, I don't know if ancillary is the right word, but it's like all secondary. And that's the stuff you remember.
Yeah. It was just cool. Like, just, I mean, be in the shop and, more stories. I remember, I think we got a new trailer and Davey was inside of it and up in the gooseneck area, and Dalton didn't know, and he went to go pull the, trailer forward and sent Davey off the top rope and just stuff like that. And, we could just talk for a long time about 2012 and Davey and all, us almost killing him multiple times, but.
Well, I don't know if I don't know what this thing's going to ever turn into, but part of me wants to do a deal where I go and I speak to some of the people who put you guys up, and that would be the Davy Joneses, that would be the Pete Willoughbys, that would be Jeff Walker. He's talked to me a lot about Levi and Justin Grant. He did mention you. I don't know if you ever crashed with him or stayed at his place. Really?
I didn't. Oh no, crashed.
Crashed
wrecked
his car.
Race car.
Yeah,
multiple.
I meant stay with him.
No, I didn't. No.
He mentioned Brad. He mentioned you. He mentioned obviously
my career with Jeff Walker did not last very long.
Okay.
I ran 3 races. Destroyed 2 cars, and think I finished 2nd or 3rd at Bloomington. That was about it.
Okay, so yeah, a little bit of a checkered.
He didn't ever fire me. He just didn't really ever call me back. He just didn't ever really call me back.
Jeff seems like the guy who doesn't fire many drivers, and they always come back to him, because he said a great thing about Levi's story was he was like, Levi got that chance with Scott Bennick, and Jeff told him, like, hey, you're always welcome back, and we'll race again, which they did one day, and that's really, really cool. Anything else on? Just so you know, I love what you answered with. I think that's so cool to hear that you say you learned things like grace and just patience with the Joneses, because, man, dude, I don't know what it's like to raise 3 kids. I don't know what it's like to run a team and have all the stuff going on in your life. You probably have to show grace pretty often today.
Try to, yeah.
Yeah. But
yeah. I mean, yeah. He just reminded me, like, being with Davey kind of reminded me of, being with my best friend Colby Copeland and his dad. Like, I mean, Colby would do like the little, just like Dalton or something, would do like the littlest things, and Davey would just like, explode. So like, it made me feel, I guess, at home back then too. Just
because it was similar to
whenever Dan would be yelling at Colby, like, I'd be in the backseat just laughing my ass off, and it was a lot of the same, with Davey and Dalton, or Davey with us.
Yeah.
And it was just, he was so intense and so wild and short fused that it was hilarious.
Well, and that's the other thing too, is like, how much of a blessing is it now looking back on it? You might not have enjoyed it in the moment, but the fact that Davey and Michelle felt comfortable enough to discipline you guys, and you're not their kids. Like, that's how ingrained you were in their lives, that they were like, we're going to treat you.
It's funny that, like, until you said we were respectful, because, like, as a grown up now and looking back, we were definitely the most disrespectful kids. I mean, when we're lighting bombs off in their backyard and stuff, like, if somebody stayed at my house and was doing that, I would be so fucking pissed.
Yeah.
Like, they would not be. I would never talk to them again.
Yep.
So, yeah, wild, but cool. Definitely great memories.
He raves about you, and I think, no doubt, right? Like, I don't think he forgets about any of that stuff. He clearly didn't, because he told me all about it. But I'm sure that you and I are very similar in age, so I don't want to come off like I'm giving you all this great wisdom here. But I'm sure that as we grow older, we'll see things through the same lens that Davey does now, where it's not about that little dramatic, disrespectful, as you call it, stuff. It's more about the stuff you guys shared, meals, time, growing together, learning together. That's probably what Davy Jones smiles about when he thinks about you and Rico.
Yeah. And I think, too, for me, I mean, I'll probably get to live through it a little bit as my kids are now getting older. And they'll be racing and doing stupid stuff, too,
Audrey looks like she'll know her way around a firework or two.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Owen's going to be more like me, I think. Like,
a little more
he'll
reserved.
be there, but, like, he's not going to be the one lighting it off.
You guys go ahead. You do it. I'll stand back here.
Yeah, that's how I was. But Yeah, I would get in trouble and it wasn't even my fault.
Other than and you texted me and you helped me out, kind of prepare for this with you. I think unless I'm forgetting somebody, which would kind of be your fault because you didn't tell me about them. I feel like the only other name that you gave me and we talked about was when you end up coming out to here to North Carolina to start finding your way in the big time stock car world. You stayed with Kevin Swindell for what, maybe a week or two?
Yep. We came here at the tail end of 2012, and yeah, Kevin and I were really good friends back then, and when you spoke about iRacing and R Factor and all that, till 4 in the morning, or back when I was on the West Coast, probably, I mean, I guess it would have been later, but late for him. Yeah, I mean, it was always playing with him. So yeah, I had a good relationship with him, and I think he was doing some like nationwide stuff at the time, maybe.
Yeah.
In the 98 car. So, yeah, he lived in Birkdale.
Okay.
He was dating, which we're still really good friends with, Devin Adamic, at the time. She's married to Chad Kendrick now. But, yeah, so I came to, North Carolina and stayed on their couch in Birkdale, an apartment. And then Jeff Dickerson, I think Pete Willoughby was probably also here maybe. Yeah, he definitely was. But Jeff Dickerson and Pete Willoughby, they would come pick me up at Brookdale, and we'd go, drive
What was
around.
Pete Willoughby doing out here?
He was kind of just like, I mean, my father figure and parent, and not, I wouldn't say manager, but like he was looking out for my best interest.
Okay.
So he wouldn't, I don't think, like, be a part of any meetings and stuff, but he was here. I feel like I think I remember him being like at breakfast with us before we'd go meet.
Pete.
But yeah, Pete with Dickerson also. But
was Pete in those meetings with Ganassi?
He was in the meeting that I remember him being in was, and I don't really remember it being like a meeting, like a formal
sit down.
Yeah, it was just more of like they brought me Pete, who has a good relationship with Mike Hull.
Yeah.
And so this is going back now to 2011. So yeah, I guess I would have stayed with Kevin in 2011, not 12, but 2011, earlier that year. I don't think had really been having a ton of success at this point yet, but anyways, we went to Chip Ganassi's IndyCar shop there in, I don't know, Indianapolis, wherever.
Yeah.
And I mean, I met Mike and again, like I was like wing sprint car racing or ultimately maybe NASCAR if it went that way. So yeah, just the meeting was kind of going, and I was super, like, it was my first ever big race shop that I'd been to. It's beautiful, white painted floors and just Indy cars, lined up, and mechanics all matching, and the truck bay, and Chip had, a lot of his memorable cars on the wall and stuff. So I remember all that. But yeah, meeting with Mike, I think, he was kind of questioning me on like where I wanted to, end up someday. And I was like, I don't really want to go IndyCar racing. I want to go NASCAR. And then listen to Pete, I think that shocked him. Like, oh my God, you put this up right here,
Well, you told that story on Dinner with Racers, and it was crazy listening to that. I listened to that on the flight out to Perth for High Limit International this past year, and I'm doing the same thing. I'm like, whoa, you're telling Mike Hull you don't want to go IndyCar racing. Clearly it worked out for you, but that's a huge moment, and it's crazy that Pete, from Keith Kunz Motorsports, one of your, not landlords because he wasn't sure, one of the guys that helped you out is now sitting in this room with you, whatever the setting is, with Chip Ganassi and Mike Hull, and he's watching you
screw it up.
Well, not screw it up, but
at
in the moment.
time, I mean, you don't know. You don't don't know that I'm gonna end up in
How
this
does Pete and Mike
couch
Hull,
today.
how are they so close?
Probably through Brian.
Okay.
Clausen, I'm guessing, because he was a Ganassi
development driver.
And I'm assuming the relationship was probably there before.
Yeah, no doubt.
Brian.
I was just wondering.
Yeah, I would say definitely that, but then I mean, jumping forward, then later that year, I came here and stayed with Kevin and them for a week, and it was a fun week. Like, it was fun. I mean, I got to go meet every Cup team, which was honestly like it wasn't as much fun because it was disappointing.
Right.
Every day, I remember just being like disappointed because
you just kept getting shot down.
Yeah, I mean, all these teams, they don't, I guess I thought what I was doing that year was bigger than it was and everything, but I'd come here and every team was just like, oh yeah, you're a great driver. This is what it would cost to do this or this or this, and I was like, well, I don't have any money, so this is kind of a bummer. But still, I mean, made the most out of the week and had a good time. I remember going to LaJoy seats. They have, or back then they had like a little banked, super tiny track they would race, flat carts on.
Oh, cool.
Called Field Filler Fairgrounds. That Corey LaJoy, and I mean, I'm guessing like Joey Logano was probably there, and a lot of people, So that was a memory I have from that trip, was just going to watch that. But then, yeah, I mean, to cap off the week, I went to Chip Ganassi's NASCAR shop now, and Chip was there, and yeah, I mean, it was going to be the final stop. We were just going to go there, say what's up, because Dickerson and Ganassi were good friends, and then head back to the airport to fly to Indy after. And yeah, I mean, it was literally like a 5-minute meet. I walked in, said, hey, what's up? He's like, yeah, so Dickerson, how do we sign him?
Wow.
And that was it. And then I was cup racing, 2 years later. So it was crazy.
That's during that week that you were crashing with Kevin?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So is that, and again, Christopher talks about this when he's staying on Ross's couch, and Briscoe's there staying with all of them. And certainly you guys are not the only drivers and competitors that have ever stayed with each other. I guess I just got to ask, it's low-hanging fruit, but like, how does that go with Kevin, who, yeah, I don't imagine it would have been taken necessarily negatively, because he's already in the NASCAR space. He's already doing development stuff and running Busch Series probably. How's that relationship go?
I don't remember. I don't remember if I kept it a secret from people or what. So I really couldn't tell you, kind of how it went. But I just remember leaving that meeting I remember going to that meeting, be like, okay, this is gonna be another, stupid like waste of my time, as the rest of this week has kind of felt like at this point. And then when he just hit me with that, I was like, oh my God, like this is crazy. So yeah, I just remember being in shock, and then really happy and excited, heading to the airport. Like, wow, like what does this even mean? What's next? But yeah, just pumped.
Kevin is obviously a big name in the sport, and everybody knows him. I don't even remember what year was his accident. Would that have been 14 or 15?
Yeah, probably. I was cup racing, so probably 14 or 15.
Who knows, what he could have gone on to do, and it's obviously one of the tragedies of the sport that we'll never get to see it. And I'm not necessarily asking about your relationship today, but in those days, that week you're staying with him, before that, right after that, does Kevin do anything that helps you as a competitor, as a guy coming up in the sport? The theme of the show, as you know by now, is like, what did you learn from these people you stayed with? You clearly weren't living with Kevin Swindell for weeks and weeks and months. But again, you stayed with him. He was a buddy of yours. Do you pick anything up from him in that time?
Probably how to be good at Call of Duty or something. For real. He's always been and I think he still games a lot.
Big Twitch guy.
Yeah.
Big Twitch streamer, watches a lot of gaming. I remember that.
Yeah. No, he was. Loves his video games. That's what I remember. I remember just even back before I came out east. I'd be in California and staying up till 5 a.m. or even later, and he would still be up, playing away at video games. But yeah, I mean, he was just a friend, at the time. It wasn't like
similar in age.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, a couple years older, so somebody that I looked up to, and I was always a Sammy Swindell fan, so probably in the beginning like a little surreal, that I'm hanging out with Sammy's son and all that. But I do remember him like more at the racetrack when I was first getting started. Like, he'd be the guy that would, like, you're in the car, getting ready to go out staging lane for whatever, and he'd run up like, hey, track's doing this, doing that, and kind of giving me the pointers. And then I think like once I became more competitive and racing with him and battling him, that's when we became a little bit more distant and not like hanging out all the time, talking all the time. But yeah, definitely like a mentor earlier on, I would say, like, because I actually met Kevin, dude, before I probably raced sprint cars.
Oh, wow.
Long time ago, I did the Red Bull driver search.
Oh, yeah.
And I was still racing go-karts. Maybe it was the beginning of my sprint car career. I don't know.
So do you do that year with Rossi and all those guys?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, so me and Rossi, we grew up in the same area.
Yep.
In Northern California, so we would go to RPM.
He's like Nevada City, California?
Yep. Close to like Grass Valley, where Caitlin's family is. But yeah, we would go to RPM, and we would be racing and whatever. Him and I were always like the top two kids at this indoor kart track, which is like a K1 Speed or whatever. But yeah, they had this Red Bull driver search thing going on, throughout the world, I think.
To
trying
build
to find their
Red Bull's F1 team.
Yeah. maybe it was for America. Maybe they're trying to find their next American. But anyways, me and him, it took like the top 2 or 3 guys. There was some bracket thing, whatever, and ultimately, I won the RPM thing. Rossi was second, and then this kid Evan Giancopoulos was third. And then like the next stage of it, you were supposed to like go to Sonoma and do some karting there, in like a Rotax or something. But I must have been busy racing that weekend, so I ended up having to go to Boston, Massachusetts, to
Okay.
do like the East Coast side of
At
it.
F1 Boston?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So I got to do that. And yeah, I remember Scott Speed was there and his brother and dad.
Probably
like,
AJ Allmendinger.
probably.
Yeah.
But they were all taken care of. I mean, there was like 100 kids or whatever, racing. But yeah, Kevin Swindell was there. And so we ended up taking him. Somehow we, got talking. I'm sure my dad probably went and saw Amy or something, and got talking. We actually ended up taking, there was a, races at, was it Seekonk Speedway or something up there in the Northeast, but they had like NEMA Midgets racing and,
Okay.
and whatever. So Kevin ended up riding with us, and we went and watched that race, and that's how we became friends. And then, online racing, we just kept the, relationship going, racing online together. And see, I knew of Kevin long before that, but actually starting to hang out with him around that time frame. So I was probably 12 or so.
That's
I guess,
cool.
13.
That's cool. Yeah, I tried to get a hold of Kevin really, really, really last second, and I didn't get a chance to. But again, it's like you said, it wasn't like, you spent a really long period of time with him at all. And it was really probably just more of a, hey, you can come stay here while you're knocking on doors.
Yeah. I
Okay.
think it was just, I'm guessing he was probably the only person I really knew here at that time. 'Cause I didn't, I'm guessing, Casey Kane was a big time deal, so I wasn't going to hit him up to go stay at his house. But yeah, Kevin was somebody I was, legitimately friends with back then, and would, play video games all
Yeah.
the time with and catch up when we were at the same racetrack together. So
those are the couches you've stayed on. And before we wrap this up, I just want to ask you about, I've had one of your current tenants, Clinton Boyles.
oh yeah.
And yeah, you got freaked
Right up
out there. Right. Yeah. Like, again, sick race shop. It's also an apartment. He and Carson Perkins moved here to help sort of run Kyle Larson Racing for Owen and Audrey. And now you're putting them up. Now, clearly they're not living in your basement. They're not down the hall in a guest room. They're here on a separate piece of ground in a race shop. And you can get as like deep or, whatever you want to with this, but like, what's it like having 2 young guys not just work for you and help tutor your kids in racing, but like sort of live and be ingrained with your family?
Mm-hmm.
Is that something you're taking and trying to do the things that people did for you? Are you looking at it as just like, hey, they're just here to work and that's all it is? Like, what's the relationship right now and getting to be one of those guys putting other young guys up? What's that like right now?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't really think of it as like, I'm putting them up or anything. It's more like, hey, one of the perks of working for us is like you can get free living, here. And it's a nice, you'll have to go up there if you haven't been up there yet. But yeah, Caitlin kind of did it all up. It's really nice up there. But yeah, no, it's been really fun because so we used to run KLR sprint car team out of here for the few seasons we did that with Macedo. And that was fun. We had mechanics living up there. Carson, now, so downstairs we have a few offices.
Yeah.
And Carson would live on the couch in the what is now the kids' classroom.
Okay.
So yeah, I loved it. I had so much fun back then. Gave us a reason to come here. And
Yes, I
all
didn't even
that.
know that Carson stayed here. So
Yeah.
he's somebody else that you put up.
Yeah, I guess. But then the sprint car team went away, and we kind of had a little bit of our go-kart stuff in here or whatever. But now it's been fun because we have all this stuff now, and like Clinton and Carson working here, and they're both great with the kids. And I mean Carson's only 20, and Carson also grew up in Northern California where I did. And
QRC.
yeah, and
Red
so
Bluff.
it's cool, kind of giving him a cool opportunity. And then Clinton, who is also young but has a ton of experience, and great with kids, so it's been awesome. It's been everything that I thought it could be and would be. I felt like before they ever started working, I was like, man, we got a really good team of people here, couple guys, and I feel like as our kids get older and racing, I feel like I could really see it as like just being this crew forever, which is awesome. So yeah, I've loved it, and like I said, it gives us a reason to come here. Caitlin's really into it too, so she's been here a lot. It's been a lot of fun.
Well, that's a big thing. I mean, I'm just telling you how I view it from my perspective, and it's that when Davy Jones or Jeff Walker with guys like Levi and Justin or Pete Willoughby and Keith, when they put you guys up, okay, it's whatever, okay? But you're putting up these guys, and they're kind of in charge or have at least a massive hand in your children's racing career. Again, I'm not a dad, at least I don't think, and I don't know. I can't imagine the pressure that you just have wanting to make sure, A, your kids are safe, B, they have the best chance at success, C, they're in good-looking, clean, professional quality stuff, and you're giving Carson and Clinton this chance to handle that for you. You're not here working on this stuff every day. One, because you got a day job. Two, because you just told us an hour ago that you don't know how to do it. That's a huge deal, I think. I think it's like almost bigger because they're your kids. Nobody else's kids matter like your kids do. So you're giving Clinton and Carson this great opportunity, but you're also giving them this responsibility to handle Owen and Audrey's racing career. I don't know, man. You don't really necessarily have to say one thing or another about it, but like to me, that seems like a huge deal that you're trusting them with.
Yeah. I mean, trusting two 20-year-olds with your kids is or 20-something-year-olds is definitely I'm sure it comes with a lot of stress on them maybe, but like I said,
I'd imagine the stress would be on you.
Nah, Caitlin and I are pretty laid back, so and I've been around racing enough and been around Clinton at least enough to know that he's got a ton of experience managing a team that's been on the High Limit Tour, on the Outlaw Tour. So, like, this should be a breeze, I would think, for him. And then I've also, seen how he is around kids. So he was he was definitely who I wanted. I was not going to start this team unless, he came.
Yeah.
So
that's what he said.
Yeah. So that's cool. And then, I guess, now, thinking back to, like, the Davy memories and all that, it's like, they're coming here. They're both not from North Carolina. They both probably didn't have many friends, here before they came. So, and I've noticed, Caitlin even as well, like we're trying to make it fun for them here, like
comfortable.
Yeah, they got the simulators, they got the,
golf sim.
Yeah, golf sim. Obviously we live on the lake, so they can, like, they went on the boat, last week. So we want to make it fun for them where they're not missing wherever they would rather be. Like, we want them to be here.
You don't want them to have to go through what you suffered through in Pete Willoughby's guest house.
It was not that bad.
I know.
No, but yeah, we want to make it where they want to be here and they don't want to, leave and go somewhere else. That's
a rave review. I'm only bringing this up because Clinton talked about it in his conversation with me, which, by the way, one of my favorite talks I've had on this thing so far because Clinton just gets so real with it. And he talks about how blessed he is and how grateful he is to be in this position with Kyle Larson Racing. But he also talks about a lot of the shortcomings and the mistakes he made that, in his words, have kind of negatively affected his driving career. That's not to say that he's not excited about this. It's just you'd rather race him than work on him. So would he. He tells a story about you bumping into him, and he doesn't name where it is. He goes, we're in a slightly crowded environment during a night after racing at the Chili Bowl in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So you can probably put it together where you guys are at. And he says that he's in this area using that place, and you come in and you look at him and you go, man, I love listening to you on the Flow broadcast. You know everything that's about to happen. You set it up perfectly. Do you remember this?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure I said something like, help me out. But I know you could word it better than
you really rave about him, and you're just like,
it's embarrassing. I don't like hearing it, so.
I don't think it's as bad because it ends up being like
it's like a backhanded compliment.
Yeah, absolutely. Because he goes, Kyle looks at me and goes, man, you're so good on Flow. You know exactly what's going to happen. You explain it so well. But then the second you put a helmet on and go out there yourself, it's like you forget everything you just told people on air.
Yeah, I remember.
And Clinton goes, Kyle turns around and leaves and goes, Clinton's like, I didn't really know what to do in that moment. He's like, I just kind of was hit with this reality of like, Kyle Larson just said something really, really cool to me. But then he kind of ended it with something not so cool. But I think the overall message was really cool. And he said, I didn't really know how to take it. And then a few days later, it hit him that it was like a really positive thing, what you were saying, which is just like, you're so smart, you know the sport, you know what's going on, and you're just a little too aggressive maybe at times out on track. And he just said that you and him have a really good relationship where you can feel comfortable saying something like that to him.
Yeah, no, and that's honest, like, that was not that but the first part of that compliment was why I also hired him here. I'm like, man, like I listened to him during the shootout, and like he is so smart on like how he sees things before they're gonna happen, how he can describe it, lines, whatever. He can set up a car. He's good with kids. Like there were so many things that I was like, man, and he he was whatever, lost his job, quit his job, whatever happened, middle of last year, and was going to race. And so now, yeah, I just remember driving to, Darlington before the playoffs started, and I was like thinking about, like, oh man, like I want my kids to race more. Like, I should just start my own team at this point. And then I was like, oh, boom, Clinton Boyles, he'd be the perfect guy to get. So I texted him, I think, that night or the next day, and then I got the ball rolling. But yeah, it's been awesome.
Yeah, he said that you pursued him and like you reached out to him and he was like, man, I don't know, like. He was like taken back by the opportunity, and he said he sat on it for a few weeks, and then you hit him up again, and you were like, "Hey, are we doing this or not?"
Yeah.
And it was like that extra little push that really was like, "Oh, I should take this opportunity."
Yeah. Well, I would have never even thought of him like with micros if it wasn't for him. A couple years before, he'd like, hey, I think this is before Kyle Busch had hired Big Al, but it was like, hey, could like I kind of thought about maybe I think I'd be good with kids and micros like
this is Clinton talking to you.
Yeah, like you think you could help get me in touch with Kyle? I was like, oh, well, they just hired Big Al.
Yeah.
Whatever. I think that's kind of how it went, but yeah, and then that kind of 2 years later, or whatever, and I'm driving to Darlington. That kind of like past conversation dawned on me. I'm like, oh my god, yeah, he would be so perfect
For your team.
Yeah, for my team.
But it's so funny to watch you guys from a distance too. And I don't know Kyle Busch, more than a few interviews, but it's so cool to see how you and him are both attacking, giving your kids the best opportunity. And yeah, I told Clinton, I joked with him at the end of his conversation with me. I said, I want to come back in a year or two. And I probably said here to Kyle's shop, I go, I would love to come back in a year or two and talk to you more, Clinton, about what you've learned from living with the Larsons and going up and down the road. And I know you can't be at every race, but you're at a lot of stuff. I'm sure they come over to the house. I'm sure you guys eat a lot together. You just do stuff. You do life together. And I told him in all seriousness, I would love to come back. And same with Carson. I talked to him before you got in here to start. I want to know Carson's story, and I want to know what both those guys in a year or two have learned from living and doing this deal with you, because I'm sure it'll be some pretty impactful stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you'd hope anyway. Positive, So, but yeah, I mean, I think Caitlin and I have both experienced a lot in life, and then, I think us hosting them and having them around, like I said earlier, just wanting them to have fun and enjoy it here is, and I think that they have, So yeah, it's been I've loved it to this point, and then now we're get ready to get into the thick of racing here coming up. So we'll see how they're liking that, traveling hours and hours to go race micros. But I think it's been fun for them to this point. And two, I mean, it's been their team, really. Like they've gotten, I said I want link chassis and what, who I want building the engines, but that's about it. So
and the rest is theirs.
Yeah, like whatever they order or want to order, like go ahead and get. Like I want it to be a nice team. I want them to not be skipping out on anything that might make them faster, and I just want like the best thing for them, but best thing for my kids too.
Well, that's I guess that's the point. Is like when you say I want the best for my kids, and you could handpick pretty much anybody in the country to work on this program, and you pick Clinton Boyles and Carson Perkins. To me, that's a wildly positive rave review for the two of them.
Yeah, and just again, going back to their experience, like they have experience with sprint cars. Carson grew up, racing outlaw karts and working on them. He had his own team, with outlaw karts. So like, it's just the perfect group of people to be good right now, but then even grow beyond
totally.
Micros.
As your kids grow and gel with Clinton and Carson, and no doubt, dude, in one day, whatever Owen and Audrey's careers end up looking like, and Cooper's for that matter, I don't know if he's going to do this or not. It's a little too early, obviously, to decide. But one day, Owen and Audrey will either be getting interviewed like this, or they'll just be in life having conversation, and they will talk about things they learned from Clinton Boyles and Carson Perkins that had nothing to do with racing.
Yeah.
That's crazy to think about.
Yeah.
Maybe a little scary.
Nah, they're good.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I'm joking. So if there's anybody else I haven't hit on that you think of when we talk about people who have helped you out and put you up, I don't think are we leaving anybody out?
I mean, I'm sure there's
those nightly, those random weekends, but
man, my career was like it took off so fast that yeah, it was kind of crazy, from 2011 to then, then I had my own apartment in 2012, here. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was just a small window of people where I was like living with them for more than a day.
Yeah, no, and that's what's cool about it. And there's no parameters to the show. It's not like
Yeah.
there has to be 6 houses of people and you got to spend 3 years
Yeah.
total.
No, I mean, I think that's what's going to be really cool about this is everybody has a different path. Everybody has a different, for me and Tony, like it took off quick, but others, it takes time and there's, all of that. So
I tried to get lined up
awesome.
with Briscoe, like I told you. I think his will be
Briscoe's
really good.
story will be really cool, I think.
Yeah, Bell's I learned so much, and I got to spend a lot of time on the phone with Kathy Ferkel learning about when Rick put Christopher up. Man, that's the other great part about this is the people I get to talk to who put you guys up, and what I've learned about Pete Willoughby, what I've learned about the Ferkels, what I've learned about Davy Jones and Michelle, what I've learned about all these people who have helped you guys out. That's maybe tied for the best part about this program that I'm doing is like, those are the people that, and that's why I'm doing this. They deserve the credit.
Mm-hmm.
You've been interviewed thousands of times, and no matter what the premise is, you never are given a platform like this to give credit and share the success that you wouldn't have reached if it weren't for those people. And that's what I hope this ends up being for everybody who sits on the couch is you guys all know you wouldn't be where you are without those helping hands and a shit ton of hard work. Definitely not denying the hard work, but yeah, it was like Bell said it in the opening of his interview. He's like, if you take any one of these 5 or 6 people out of my life that helped me, I'm not where I am today without them.
Yeah, I know. That's wild to think about.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool, too.
Yeah, it's like a tree that everybody has, and different branches represent the people who have helped you out. So these are some kind of standardized questions that I ask at the very end just to get their fun, and they sort of unite every episode. And you don't have to answer these as the guest you were in Davy Jones's house or in Pete Willoughby's house. You can answer them based on things you've learned today, or maybe you can answer them as the guy who's putting up a couple young racers, mechanics yourself, and how you want them to handle it.
Okay.
As a professional house guest, bounce around from place to place, now you're putting these guys up. A couple of theories here I want to know about from you. First of all, shoes. When you come over to someone's house, what's the logic there on shoes?
I'm just as long as they're not dirty. I mean, I don't care. Which I mean, all shoes I guess are a little bit dirty, but as long as they're not muddy, as long as you're not leaving tracks.
Those are some pretty clean Nikes. I don't know if those are dirty.
I mean, they went through. Caitlin washed them for me.
Washing sneakers. That's
yeah.
It's a tax bracket I'm not in.
Dirt on them.
So shoes, as long as they're not like visibly caked in mud.
Yeah, I would say in the motorhome we're more for whatever reason like a smaller space. Maybe like take your shoes off.
Probably
but,
harder to clean that.
Like in my house, I don't really care that much.
Okay, that's interesting. Next one.
I mean, if I go to somebody's house though that I don't know that well, I'm taking my shoes off.
That's what I'm saying. Is like as you as a guest.
But me personally, like as a host, I guess I don't. As long as they're not dirty. But me as a guest, then yeah, I'm most likely gonna read the room and then take them off.
That's what everybody. That's almost the consistent answer I get is like read the room, which that's kind of tough. Maybe what if you're the only guy coming over? What if you're just coming over to hang out at Kyle Larson's house and there's nobody else to look at and go, well, do I take my shoes off or
take
not?
your shoes off.
Okay, that lines up a lot more with what a lot of people say.
Yeah.
Number 2 would probably be everybody's TV is a smart TV. I mean, you got a couple in here that can probably open up YouTube, Spotify, Netflix, whatever. And the premise for this is not like, oh, we're all sitting around watching a movie or watching a game or a race. No, it's like dinner's over, everybody's just sitting around talking, nobody's glued to the television. What's the etiquette on the remote? How do you go about the remote as a guest? Because I'm guilty. The reason I always ask this question is I'm real guilty of coming over to someone's place. I'm at Tom's this week, and I'm not kidding you. Last night, I'm like, hey, can I show you the opening to the first episode of Dirt Season 2 on Flow? I'm not kidding, because I think it's so cool. So I grabbed the remote, boom, boom, YouTube, I'm onto Flow's channel. Here's the opening of Dirt Season 2. So what's the etiquette on the remote as a guest in someone's house?
I don't know. I mean, I think usually, like, if people are over at my house, like, I'll just turn on YouTube TV and it'll be anything, really. I mean, usually, I guess a race, but ESPN or whatever, and then it might turn into something different.
Yeah.
But if you came over and like, hey, let's watch, like, hey, this is on, like, let's watch it. Yeah, I don't care as long as there's nothing else.
It always ends up being loud pedal highlights for me. I'm always putting on the first loud pedal video I can find, and then it's just like 3 hours of Chili Bowl. replays or something.
Yeah,
So
I mean, I don't know.
it's real rabbit hole quality stuff is what I'm talking about.
I guess there's no rule. Unless, like, we're watching something and somebody just walks up and grabs the remote and change. Then yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
no,
But
no,
nobody's really doing that ever.
No, like I said, the pretense for this is like nobody's glued to the TV.
Yeah,
It's just we're all sitting
TV's
around.
just kind of background. I feel like when people are over.
Yeah. Nobody comes over to watch TV when you're with friends.
No.
But if you want to show them something, so that's kind of okay. The next one would be, what do you do with say you're staying over at Davy's house this weekend? I don't know why you'd be there, but say you got to crash with Davy again, and all right, hey, good night, Davy, night, Kyle. You get to your room, and it is way too cold or it is way too hot. What do you do if you can't?
That's a tough one.
Climate control. Where do we go?
Yeah. I mean, if it's cold, I think you just got to suck it up and put a hoodie on, do something. If it's hot, I mean, then you're just sleeping on top of the covers or cracking the window open.
Guys, so you're getting resourceful.
Too.
You're looking for ways to accommodate yourself.
Yeah.
So you're not going down into the hall and knocking on the door and saying,
No.
"Hey, where's the thermostat?"
No.
Somebody said they'd sneak, and I don't remember who it was, but they were like, "If it's bad enough, I'm going to go find the thermostat and turn it down or turn it up." Which, bold move.
Maybe the second night if you're staying multiple nights.
Yeah.
But if it's like the first night, I think you have to
Suffer.
You have to figure it out.
Mention it over breakfast, like.
Yeah, as you're getting ready, like, hey man,
Like my teeth are chipped from chattering last
bumping
night.
it down a couple degrees or something. But yeah, no, I don't think you can. No, I don't think you can just go set it to where you want to set it.
Yeah, I mean that's somebody's heating and air bill.
Yeah.
That's their
And
livelihood.
this is their house, their comfort. Yeah.
Okay, see, these are why it's interesting because I wish I could remember who that was. They're like, I'm just going to go change it. I was like, okay, you probably won't be invited back, but that's also
Bell.
assuming they're going to drop it 15
That was
degrees.
Bell. Had to be.
No, it was definitely not Christopher Bell. Christopher Bell is like so polite. He was probably just like, I
Yeah.
wouldn't say anything.
Yeah.
I can't remember what he said. Okay, so what about, how do you thank someone for putting you up? How do you, whether it's a weekend, a few months, or a damn near full race season with Pete Willoughby, how do you show someone gratitude for staying?
I don't know. I think just keep showing up. Like I remember still going, like I said, going to Pete's then Lake House, a couple times after. I mean, I'm cup racing at that point, but you got a day to kill and go see them. Same with Davey and Michelle. We would always stop in. Obviously don't get to do it nowadays or even go to Columbus anymore, but I mean, for at least the next 3 or 4 years, we were always, Caitlin and I would stop in and say hi and all that. So I think that probably goes further than even just saying thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would say we were really good about doing that, but these days we've tapered off. But
did you? I would love to know how 2012 Kyle Larson said thanks to Davey and Michelle for letting them stay there. Probably like, hey, we're gonna let your grass grow back.
Yeah.
We're not letting any fireworks off in the lawn anymore.
No, because once we had kids, we like Michelle and we would still go, like I said, go over to her house and because we were not I say Michelle now because she would help babysit Owen a little bit.
Davey said he thought that him and Michelle might have been the first people to ever babysit Owen.
Probably. I mean, at least one of the first. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not the first, but
amongst the very first people that like you and Caitlin were able to say like, we want to go have dinner and do something. Can you watch our infant son?
But we would also just go pop in and hang out, with them.
Yeah.
They were always great with kids, obviously, and Michelle is such a great mom that we would just go and hang out. I just remember just cruising in, parking, and probably not even calling them, probably just showing up and
that's cool.
Walking in.
That's really cool. So we did shoes, remote, air conditioning. How do you say thanks? And then I think you think I'd write these down, so I'm better at remembering them for every episode. But I think the last one is, what's the etiquette on getting to be a guest in someone's house and bringing companionship over?
Oh, I mean, I definitely didn't have any companionship in 2011 in Columbus, and then 2012. Caitlin and I were together, then split up, and then got back together. I don't think she really came around Davies that year either. I didn't do it. So I mean, etiquette wise, I don't know. I didn't ever do it. So I mean, Michelle, I would have asked Michelle.
Right.
I would have gone to Michelle, not Davey. Davey would have been cool with it for sure, but
I thought he would have made some joke at you like, dude, you don't talk to girls.
yeah, no, but Michelle would have been like super cool, you know.
Cool.
There, I mean, even like Pete and Jennifer, I'm sure, it was like I don't know, just a different vibe. So I don't know if I would have brought a girl to their house, but like Davey and Michelle's, I would have, just because it was like fun and wild and party and all that. But and they would have been cool with it. But yeah, I would have asked. I don't know if I would have asked. I probably would have mentioned it to Michelle, like, "Hey, we're having friends over," and
friends.
Yeah,
with an asterisk.
yeah.
I think yeah.
I probably would have just blamed Rico. I would have said, "Hey, Rico's got friends."
Like, Kyle, there's like 5 girls over here.
Yeah.
It can't all be. Maybe they were all there talking to Rico.
Probably.
But yeah, I feel like the common answer is just like, hey, just ask. And then like if the host is like, no, then you don't. But most of the time, and you guys aren't staying with like people you've never met. They're usually your friends.
And also, I mean, I'm just thinking to myself now, like, if Clinton, he's single, like, if he wouldn't need. I mean, he would probably ask Caitlin before asking me. But and maybe that's different than a girl versus a guy. But like, I don't feel like he would. He doesn't need to tell me.
Okay, but like you bring up an interesting wrinkle. They don't share they're not in your home with you and Caitlin and the kids. They're here in the race
I'm
shop.
saying if they were to come to our house for like a dinner or something.
Okay.
I don't need them to tell me or ask for my permission.
Yeah. This is more predicated around like, hey, this is where I sleep, this is where I live, and I'm going to bring someone over to also spend the night with me in your home, in your domicile.
Now, I will say, we were talking over logistics last night, and I think Clinton and them will get to use like our camper for Knoxville.
Oh, cool.
So I'm like, that's our bed.
Yeah.
Caitlin's like, yeah, no problem. You guys can use it. I'm like, well, maybe stay on the couch.
Like,
or if you're going to have fun, go out to the couch.
You can use it, parentheses, to sleep.
Yeah.
Parentheses.
Yeah.
Because
anything else but our bed, you can go to the floor. You can go to the couch. Where else? Anywhere else but our bed,
Yeah, okay, that's cool that Kyle Larson's just like that. You're like a
I'm
cool
cool
dad.
with everywhere in here but where I sleep.
You're like a cool dad. That's pretty. That's good to know, man. That's because it sounds like you're not going to be able to make Knoxville this year.
Well, no, I mean not Saturday night.
Yeah.
So we have 2 motorhomes. We have this white motorhome out here that Caitlin will take to the micro races.
Right.
Which they race micros like nearby Knoxville.
Yeah.
Before Knoxville. So both my motorhomes will end up there, where Caitlin and then I and the kids will stay in our Newell, and then those Carson and Clinton will stay in the white one. But yeah, no, I'll be at Knoxville. I just won't get to run Saturday.
Got it.
I'll do prelim night, Oskaloosa.
That's cool.
I'll do 360 Nationals.
That's cool. Still
Just
make the absolute most out of the week.
Yeah.
Because what are you
hopefully
guys,
lock
Richmond?
in. Hopefully we'll lock in, and Trevor Canales can get his second start in the Knoxville Nationals.
Oh, I didn't know. I do think I knew that he started
started
one
for Rico.
Okay.
Rico had to leave. Same sort of thing. Rico had to leave.
Truck commitments.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, man, Trevor Canales. He's somebody else that I want to get on this deal because he's actively living with Rico and Megan.
Yeah.
In Avon when he's in the Midwest. Toby Balboa's living in that house.
Yep.
And then I don't know where he lives when he's back in California. I don't know if
with
he's
his brother.
Okay. So that one's a little bit of a different situation. But like getting to live with Rico and Megan, they're not charging him rent, I can't imagine. So it's like
I don't think Trevor's ever paid rent.
Dude, sick.
I know it is.
Sick.
Yeah, he's Paul Silva 2.0.
That's how he's flying business class to Perth, man.
Yeah. No, he lived with his parents forever. His parents, I think, said that you either pay rent or you go to college. So he's like, well, because I'm going to college. And then, then he, lives with Rico in the Midwest. I doubt Rico makes him pay rent.
I doubt it.
And then lives with his brother, which I could see his brother. I could see him paying some rent there, but also not.
Yeah.
Too. So he's probably got so much cash, stash, man.
Cool. So what you're saying
He's
is
rich.
What you're saying is I got to get him on this couch
Yeah.
and then ask him to sponsor it or something as well. Because right now we got K1, we got Rockwell Security.
Yeah.
And of course, there's our friends at Hasty Baked Charcoal Grills. They've been manufactured and assembled in the United States since they opened in 1948.
Yeah,
And-
that's what you should, him and Rico got those T-shirts.
Yeah.
It was RATC.
Hey, I'll wear one of those every one of these
Yeah.
interviews. I don't
Start
care.
sponsoring, yeah.
So the last thing is, how do you become a guy? How do you become someone that other people want to invite into their house?
How do you become somebody? I don't know. Just be cool. I don't know. Don't be drama. No dramas.
Yeah.
I think that's fine.
How do you get kicked out of someone's house?
Dramas.
That one
Yeah.
that one sells itself.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, hey, thank you so much for the time, and thanks for hanging out on the couch.
Yeah, thanks. No, this has been cool. Thank you for having me.